What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I have a pretty special build that I'm going to be doing in the shop this week, and it is a promotion gift for one of my old military buddies. So we deployed together when we were first lieutenants, and now his wife reached out to me the other day and said, hey, Sam is promoting to lieutenant colonel here soon. Can we do a customized build for his promotion gift? And I was like, heck yes, let's do it. So we talked about what materials, what model knife he would want, and so forth. Made some decisions, and now we're gonna jump in and build that knife. And I figured I'd video it and throw it up on YouTube so they can watch it. You guys can see this build, and yeah, without further ado, let's jump into it. Okay, so for this knife, we decided that redwood burl would look really nice. It's just a beautiful piece of wood. Here, let's see if we can focus on it. Just beautiful wood. I got this set from Bitterroot Handleworks. They have some really nice blocks of wood. So we went with that, and then we have our spacer here. This is a denim micarta with some white G10, some stainless steel, so we get that pop of silver in there, and then some black G10 on the border. So, and then some white G10 for the bolster area. So it's kind of go white, and then the blue, and then the natural wood. So, and then we talked about putting the oak leaves in the handle scale. So I kind of did a test one here and some MDF just to make sure that placement and everything like that I could fit it. And I think it's going to work out. So we'll do that last, just in case it doesn't work out or we don't want to do it or something like that. So I'm going to start squaring everything off here so we can get this glued up. And then Okay, so we have this blade all finished up here. Let's see if we can get you a shot of the surface finish. Just a real nice satin stone wash. So I blast it first and then tumble it in a real fine media, and I love the look of this finish. It does take some hand work, some hand sanding and stuff like that, but I really think it gives a real nice clean look. And then you can see a definitive line here. I masked off the blade and then sandblasted underneath where the scales are going to glue on. Rob McKibben does that trick, and I've been experimenting around with it and I like it. So, and then as far as the scales go, they're super rough right now. They're not finished hardly at all. I just have them shaped and chamfered. The only portions that are finished are the front bolsters. And the reason I finished those out is because when they're on the blade, you can't access them to hand sand them or buff them without interfering with the surface finish. So the front bolsters are done. The rest of it will be finished out on the knife after it's glued on. I decided to glue this one on versus using fasteners like I normally do for this model because I wanted to take up the least amount of room in the handle because I'm going to be insetting those oak leaves. I'm going to be insetting these silver oak leaves into the wood here, and I didn't want a fastener with a larger hole here interfering with where the oak leaf is going to go because we have pretty small real estate of where it can go in the handle. And then I also chose to use black micarta pins because I think they're kind of subtle. I like the contrast that they do with the white. It matches the color scheme of the blade, and I didn't want a silver pin right below the silver oak leaf to take away from that. So anyways, I think we're going to get these all cleaned off with acetone and then glued onto the knife, and then we'll do the inlay of the coins after they're fixed on the knife and do all the finishing after that. All right, here comes the fun yet terrifying portion of this build. So everything's all finished up on this except for the flats here. And the reason I didn't even bother finishing these is because once I drill this hole and then cast, I'd use casting resin to put this into the hole, I have to sand that flat afterwards and then do my finishing on there. So everything on this knife is done except that. So if we mess that up, then then it's done. We start over again. So these little pins are about 3/4 of an inch in diameter, which I tested a couple of my Forstner bits. This one makes a really nice clean hole, and you can see here it fits into that real nicely. So I'm gonna trim the pins on the back here. We'll trim those pins off and probably grind them a little flush so it'll just sit real nice and flat in the hole. Then the other thing too is you can see on this mock-up handle scale here, I put some 45s on there. There's barely any room on those 45s. So the hope is that we can keep that exactly centered so there's an even gap on this side and that side, which is about less than a 1/16. So we will see. So I'm gonna spend some time doing my layout. The other difficult part is getting it equal on both sides of the knife. So, I mean, obviously like the handle scales are equal, but getting in the same spot vertically on both sides. So I'm gonna spend some time doing the layout, and then I'll clip these and prep that, and then we'll probably drill it. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in slow and just keep checking depth, because I don't want to drill too deep, but it has to be deep enough that when I grind down the top surface, because it'll be bubbled up, I don't grind into the face of this pin. All right, we got our hole laid out here. So I'm going to drill this one on this side first. And I've also marked this one on this side, but I'm going to re-verify that after we do this one. So nothing left but to do it. So let's drill into a perfectly good knife. Okay, so we have the oak leaf in there, but we're hitting, my straight edge is hitting there. So we're gonna go a little bit deeper. Okay, I think we got it now. We're very centered, so even gap on either side here. I'm going to cast the oak leaf into this knife handle now, and if you're interested in learning more about casting things like coins or rank, things like that into knife handles, I made a full-length video, a tutorial on how to do that, where I cast some coal scripts for a customer into a handle, and those are just like some small coins. But I'll link that up here. You guys can go watch that if you're interested in that process. But yeah, here we go. Here, my friend helped me laser engrave Sam's occupational badges onto either side of the knife, and we also laser engraved his name and rank onto the spine of the knife. Here's some final details about this build. This is my Northerner model, which is a collaborative design between myself and Levi Herrick at Northern Knife Works. It is made out of CPM MagnaCut steel, heat treated to 62 Rockwell. The finish is a satin stonewash, and the handle scales are made out of G10 denim micarta 304 stainless and redwood burl. Well, that's a wrap for this one. I just want to say a quick thank you to Sam's wife for reaching out to me and asking me to do this project for them. I had a blast and it was an honor to do. And Sam, congratulations on your promotion. For my next video I have coming out, it's a video about a collaboration project between myself and Ira Housework. If you saw us at Blade Show, you might already know what it's about, but it involves some integral stainless Damascus. So super interesting stuff. I think you guys are going to like it. So stay tuned for that one. Cheers.